So the question begs, is it actually possible to stockpile protein in a cheap and frugal manner? Let's talk about this. Back in a minute. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is Jan. Welcome to another episode on this channel, the Save Money More with Jan channel. How you doing today? Is it possible to actually get protein on the cheap? The answer is yay, and it's with a yay. It's yes, absolutely yes. Now, don't get me wrong. There are certain proteins that, in terms of pricing, can go from the sublime to the absolutely ridiculous. Just take a look around us. I mean, seriously, but let's work around that and see what we could do about it. No, it is too. A lot of people do not actually realize that some things are actually much higher in protein than they could ever even imagine. And that's the truth. So let's talk about that right now. By the way, how you doing today? Hope that this audio video, as always, finds everybody doing well as I get my trusty notebook. Did you know that oatmeal, yes, this was shocking to me. I was surprised to learn that actually oatmeal actually has a whopping 10 grams of protein per cup uncooked. So that's before you might add any other protein to it. Like let's say there's some protein in a milk product that you're using, or maybe some form of a fat that you're using that I'm unaware of. But just uncooked, 1 cup, 10 grams of protein. I mean, it doesn't get cheaper than that. Oatmeal, very, very inexpensive, easy to store, lasts a long time, and you do get your what? Money's worth for sure. Now, the next one, on its own, I'm not a fan of. But if you do different things with it, it could be workable for me. However, how about cottage cheese? Now, they say cottage cheese is an off, usually as far as things go, it's sort of like, what's the word, underrated. Many people don't, maybe because of its appearance or the curds or whatever. A lot of people dislike it in that manner, but you could work around it. I once made years ago a cheesecake using cottage cheese. It was the lowest fat cheesecake I ever made, and it was really quite good. And I even used cornflake crumbs from scratch, like cornflakes, like from scratch. But I wish I had that recipe again. I got it from a book from like a gazillion years ago. I think that book is long out of print, but I do remember the basic premise of that recipe, and was utilizing cottage cheese as the cheesecake portion of it. But cottage cheese contains 12 grams of protein, and it's just 100 calories per half a cup. People can, let's say they don't care for the texture of it, you could throw it in a smoothie. So you could work with it when a smoothie. It's a high source of calcium. People add it to smoothies, or they pair it up with some fruit. Okay. My mom loves cottage cheese. I was never a fan of it, but on its own volition. But if you use it for other things, you might just get the protein factor out of it. Here's another one that we love to use. Many of us love, love, love chicken. Good old chicken. Chicken contains a whopping 25 grams. This is whopping 25 grams of protein in just 4 ounces. And the thing is with chicken, not only is it cost effective, but it is so versatile. You could do so many things. You might recall that the Everywhere with Steve Young 74 channel, about a week back, he did a video on just 4 completely different meals, things to do with chicken. I'm sure you have your own great recipes and your own wonderful ideas, but penny for penny, cost for cost, you get a whopping ton of this family favorite for sure, chicken. You can't go wrong with chicken. Another thing you can't go wrong with is canned tuna fish. Actually, from what I read, it seems like canned tuna fish contain more protein than good old regular tuna fish, raw tuna fish, if we will. Uh, the one in the can, for some reason or another, seems to have more protein in it. A whopping, and this is whopping, 33 grams of protein per can. Wow. Wow. And all things considered, you could get canned tuna fish really at a reasonable price. So this is something to definitely stock up on. Inexpensive protein, readily available, there for the long term. In case of an emergency, you don't have to cook it. You open it up and you eat it straight from the can. Heaven forbid of an emergency. Now we say heaven forbid. We don't want those emergencies. No, we don't. Another thing that people seem to underrate or overlook or whatever is a nice, good old can of black beans. Black beans, you could throw it in a salad, you could throw it in a stew or a soup, you could use it in tacos. You could use it in your chili. You could do so many things with it. You make your own sort of black bean, your own way of making a hummus out of it or a spread out of it. And each can, okay, each half a cup rather, each half a cup of the black beans contains a wonderful amount, 7 grams of protein for just 100 calories. And not only that, think about how cost effective it is. Can for can, ounce for ounce, you're getting so much protein packed. Again, you could keep the cans long term in your longer term storage and your longer term pantry. You see, it's not just about buying things, sticking things on shelves, and throwing spaghetti on the wall just to see how long it's going to stick whenever we prepare a stockpile. There are so many aspects. There are so many aspects of consideration to, well, to consider when we're building up our stockpile. And this week we were focusing on the protein aspect of it. Now let's talk about eggs, fresh eggs, for example. Eggs are very, very high in protein. It goes without saying. Anytime I've ever embarked a high protein eating plan, for example, one of the first things that I would think about making sure I have plenty of is eggs. Now, I know at the moment it's a little bit of a frustration because of certain conditions that are making the cost of eggs much higher than they need to be at the moment in time. It is my utmost hope that that price goes down. Eggs seem to fluctuate in price like a yo-yo because like if there are certain circumstances that are going to increase the or decrease rather the availability of this, break the supply chain of, naturally that's going to affect the price. But as far as protein goes, you cannot go wrong with having eggs. You can boil them up, you can fry them up, scramble them up, include them in other recipes. You can make them for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. I have had some nights where I like really, really, really very busy nights ahead, and I would just get my favorite Italian bread, toast it up, and just whip up a wonderful pepper, egg, and onion sandwich. And I am totally A-OK with that because there's everything in it. I have my carbs, I have my protein with of course, with the eggs. I have some vegetable with my onions and peppers, everything quick, 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 compact. And what does it take me? A whole whopping 12 to 15 minutes from start to finish. Throw the Italian bread in the oven. Well, that's crisping up and toasting up. I'm making my peppers and eggs on top of the stove. It doesn't get faster. It doesn't get easier than that. So we don't have to be elaborate. We don't have to be fancy. When we're planning our stockpiles, let's think of the quality, not just the quantity of the things that we're hanging on our shelves or putting in our freezers or refrigerators. Remember, part of our stockpile is not just the long-term pantry that everybody thinks about. We have to consider that our current food and stuff that we use in our active pantry is part of the whole stockpiling plan too. The fridge, the freezer, the cabinets, the long term. You see where I'm going with this. Thank you so much for being here. I really do appreciate everybody's time. And of course, as usual, I would appreciate if you did the following. Okay. Okay. I really do appreciate everybody clicking like, sharing, and subscribing. Thank you so much for being here. Have an amazing, fantastic upcoming weekend. Take good care of yourself and what else? Your lovely family. Take good care now. Thank you.